Hello, I'm Toycat, and today we got our third snapshot for the spring drop, because while I was gone, Mojang released a small snapshot that simply fixed a bug to make diagonal movement slower again, and this week they have gone and undone it. What else have they told us is coming in this drop though, and when should we expect to actually see it in these snapshots and betas? That's exactly what we're going through in today's news video. By the way, consider subscribing to see slightly less jet-lagged videos from yours truly to stay up to date with the latest Minecraft news, but yeah, snapshot 25W048 came out today, and that actually includes just one new feature. That's because it's a very technical snapshot focusing on making the data packs and resource packs data-driven. They're now on versions 64 and 49 respectively, and if you don't know or care about any of that, I don't blame you. So instead, there are actually two changes and one new feature, and that represents 100% of the brand new content this week. So the brand new feature is language support for Kyrgyz. I asked my good friend, the geography YouTuber IBX2Cat, and he said that's the national language of Kyrgyzstan. It's a former Soviet republic in Central Asia, and their national language is Kyrgyz. It makes a lot of sense, right? It is a much lesser known country that is very undervisited, and there's lots of reasons as to why that might be true, but also they have changes to tooltips for crossbows and for shulker boxes. When you pick up a shulker box or a chest with control plus pick block, it will tell you the first 4 items in their tooltip, and a crossbow will tell you what item they currently have inside of them, but also they've made 2 reversions to bug fixes they made last week. So the first one is that diagonal movement is not normalized when crouching or using certain items, and the other one is for the player continuing to sprint when performing certain actions that should slow them down. This second one is really interesting because even though you slow down when you sprint and then do something else, you don't slow down as much as you should. This is something that a lot of parkour and speed bridging players took advantage of, and diagonal movement not being normalized basically means that according to Pythagorean's theorem, you should take 1.4 times as long to go diagonally across a block because it's 1.4 times as long of a distance. However, Minecraft basically measures that distance in terms of blocks, and so going diagonally one block takes the same time as going horizontally or vertically, which means you effectively sneak 42% faster. This is something that Minecraft fixed, but because the bug has existed for so long, it basically has felt like they are taking away a major feature, and so the developer's note on this one is that after consideration, we've decided to revert both bug fixes. While we do want to revisit these mechanics in the future, it's clear that these recent fixes alone didn't quite hit the mark and caused too many negative side effects for parkour, speed bridging, and movement in general. And so that is the entirety of snapshot 25W048. We'll have to wait for the next one to see brand new features, which we have some interesting news about, but first we need to talk about the Bedrock equivalent, because I want to say I'm always amazed by the ability for Java developers to listen to the Java community. The community there said, yeah, even though these are clearly fixing a bug, we don't like it, and they just reverted it. Whereas the latest Bedrock equivalent for this is when they broke the way that maps work. Instead of getting a arrow, which was very useful, we now just get this weird circle that doesn't tell you very much. Everyone hates this and everyone wants to see this fixed, and it's been months and we have no sign of them doing precisely that. Honestly, I think that after looking at the number of memes made about how much people hate the Java change, maybe that's a sign that we need to up our meme game, and so if you're interested in making memes to make the Bedrock community better, I don't know, send an application wherever you want to do that, or just post them on the IBX Toycat subreddit. I think that this is something we clearly need to start doing better, because it clearly seems like the Java community can communicate their desires better, or they're being better listened to. It's hard to say which. Anyway though, I think on the subject of being listened to, a lot of people are very excited about the spring drop, but not so excited about the fact that now in our 3rd week of seeing snapshots and previews, we've gotten to the point now where we haven't actually seen any new content, and so Evil Shadow asks, well, wouldn't it be better if you alternate the technical changes and new features weekly so that you don't have to wait a week for nothing significant being added, because that's just a disappointment? And we actually get a response from Sliced Lime, who is the tech lead for the Minecraft Java edition, and he says, you get whatever we are done with. That's what a snapshot is, a snapshot of the current state of development. It's made for testing of whatever is ready for testing. If you don't want to test it, feel free not to. That is actually very valid. They obviously are not going to just add content for the sake of having a new feature in the snapshot, but also I do think they sometimes delay content for the sake of having a snapshot be more feature complete. The best example of this might be looking at the features which came out in the big first snapshot of this year. Would it be better if they took the leaf effects and the leaf litters and put them into one snapshot of their own, and then made another snapshot for the brand new wildflowers, and then made another snapshot yet for the new pig varieties, because we obviously still have the pigs, but if you use a pig spawn egg on a savanna or other hot biome, you get the warm pig, and if you use it on a cold biome, you get the cold pig. Would it be better if those features came out one by one, even though they were ready? Well, Slice Lime, again, the tech lead for Java, Java, so someone we should presumably trust, says that no, actually, they'll release the features when they're ready to test, but I think that a lot of people would prefer if there was at least some consistency, but would you prefer that at the cost of having those big snapshots? And the answer is, it's probably one of those things where if you ask different people at different times, you'll get different responses, but for now, I think it's worth taking a look back at these features, the new pigs, the leaf litters, and the wildflowers, and saying, okay, if these are the features we have so far, will we be getting other features before the spring drop comes out? I've seen quite a few people going cynical now and saying, okay, well, if we've gone freeze snapshots and this... Am I recording audio? I am! Good news! Again, every time, everyone knows if you turn on a PC for the first time in 2 weeks, random stuff just breaks and you don't know until you try using it and it doesn't work anymore, especially with microphones. But anyway, so one of the interesting things is that, like, yeah, would you prefer that Minecraft split this snapshot up, or would you prefer have it all in one place? And the other interesting thing is, okay, is this going to be everything we see? And some people are cynically saying, yeah, this is basically most of it, but I would say, even though there aren't that many weeks of snapshot development, if they want to get this out in Q1, which is what we expect so far, that still means we have realistically 4 or 5 more snapshots and 3 or 4 more betas and previews, because there was a brand new one of those today. It just mostly focused on fixing the update. We'll come back to it. But yeah, the interesting thing here is we could say, like, okay, I think that this is going to have a few more features, and the reason I think that is not just because 3 features isn't really enough for a drop. They did it with the bundle drop, but not really since. But also I say that because if we look back at the WhatsApp teaser, you can kind of see, like, okay, so we got the flowers. Yeah, that perfectly fits in, you know, the wildflowers are the flowers from that emoji. Or you could say the leaf litters. I don't think that they're really flowers, but I guess we could say they are. And then obviously there's the kind of, like, other type of flower. Maybe you could say that this is 2 of the 4 emojis. But what about the calendar and what about the sun? We've seen nothing really that indicates the sun has changed in this update, or indeed the fireflies that were hinted by, you know, our boy John. And so what is going to be happening with those 2 features? I imagine in the next 3, 4, 5 weeks, we'll be seeing brand new snapshots with brand new features. It just hasn't occurred yet. And so my sad, flat Java face has to say, I guess we'll wait until the next one, okay? Because, yeah, we did have a brand new preview this week, just to briefly cover it right here from the wrong version of the game. You know, actually, that doesn't feel right, does it? Actually, just before we switch, here's an important PSA from Novel Lemon 3800. They were playing hardcore Minecraft and just running across when this happened to them. So just remember, if you're playing hardcore Minecraft and you don't have a lot of health, just avoid trees if you don't want to definitely die. Something useful for me to know as someone who is currently in the middle of 2 hardcore playthroughs. But anyway, another important thing is the Hello Kitty and Friends DLC is available now, although you don't need me to tell you this because there's a pop-up available in the Bedrock version of the game. Actually, I got an interesting, question, which is, why do you think it is that Minecraft would listen to the Java community so much and then not listen to the Bedrock one? Like, obviously the Bedrock community is the one that makes them more money, so surely they should be more responsive. And my theory is that if you ask Bedrock players, do you want to have big pop-ups advertising Hello Kitty? Do you want to have marketplace buttons in every part of the game? They would say no. And so if you open the floor to say, yeah, we'll do whatever our community wants, then a large number of people would say they don't like the marketplace. Oh, look at that. There's an ad. I hit marketplace and it's loaded up a marketplace ad in the middle of my marketplace that I'm looking at. But yeah, I think a lot of people would say they probably don't like that. And so I think that with modern monetization, you can never truly listen. You know, it's kind of like, not to be too dystopian here, but I feel like it's kind of like a lot of systems where if you listen to people too much, you set the precedent that you'll listen to the people, and that can be dangerous for some societies. It's why basically every democracy has some form of check to it, and I guess Minecraft's democracy check is that they have full democracy for Java Edition players, and Bedrock players, if you want democracy, then, you know, like, how about you don't go vote in our mob votes, because those are bad too, huh? Anyway, speaking of things that are bad, let's go into the Bedrock version of the game now, because there is a brand new preview that came out this week, and what's exciting about it is it's for the first Bedrock update of 2025, and 1.21.60 is going to be one of the best minor updates yet. I made a whole video talking about this, but it's gotten even better because it's brought back surface ravines. This is huge, and I just think it's great news in general. While we're here though, I should give a shout out to the Timeless Adventures, because it it just had an update. You can see the changelog publicly if you want to. We had to cut it down way too short. There was so many changes, but the changelog can only be so big, but a lot of changes were made to this edition, and I figured I would show you that now you can create a new timeless world, and it will actually have the brand new biome, which I think is really, really cool. But also, Agent Mindstorm himself gave me a little update, and I figured I'd share that with you, because existing Timeless Adventures world, even if you don't download the newest world template, will actually have the new behavior pack and texture pack ready and installed, which means you can still have the texture pack updates even if you make it into a long-term survival world. I'm always impressed with the amount that Agent Mindstorm knows about the technical goings-on behind the Bedrock edition, because there is a lot of complexity to do with packs, especially in the marketplace and all of that, so I want to give him massive credit for getting this update ready. I think that's super cool, and I'd like to just say, even though we cover all sorts of stuff to do with Bedrock main game updates, there's so much going on with the behavior packs and the resource packs and the way that DRM works on the marketplace and downloads and all of that stuff, and so I totally defer to his knowledge, and I think it's really, really cool that Agent Mindstorm says that that is true, and I totally trust that it is. But I also want to show you something else that's cool, because it's not just the access to the Pale Garden and all of the other changes that have happened since this first came out that you can now find in an old console-sized limited world with limited biomes, but also there's a cool little Easter egg you can find in this valley, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but if you know, you know. Anyway, speaking of things that you know, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you're curious, I did say I've been gone for just over 2 weeks now, and I haven't streamed in that time, but I do intend to get back to streaming. But before we can get back to any of our series, I said that it'd be important if we had a little catch up and a chat about some things that have happened while we've been gone, and I think that that would be a fun thing to start with. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. We'll have a very serious chat, and also, you know, a very important catch up, I guess we could say, and then we can get back to the Igloo Run, the Nomad Run, and all of the other fun challenges that I'm sure you're looking forward to. Speaking of looking forward, though, I hope you've all enjoyed, and I hope that you consider... Oh, it's just the camera, we're fine. I hope that you all enjoyed, and I hope you consider hitting the heart button on this video, and if YouTube doesn't have a heart button yet, then do whatever you think is the closest to that. And if there's any videos, now that I'm back, I'm starting the brainstorming process again, basically from scratch. If there are any videos you want to see, now is the best time to shoot them at me, because I'm slowly putting together my kind of schedule and what I'm going to be recording when, and so now is the time, I guess you could say. Speaking of time, it's time to go. Bye.